I'd like to start out with a question of if our audience would like to find out more a little bit about P10, what you guys do, what kind of approach that you guys are doing in the insurance industry, and how you are enhancing in terms of financial literacy and education to the broad community of Malaysia. Could you just tell us a little bit and share how we can follow you, how the audience can follow you, and how they can keep track with your progress, and so that they know who you are and be able to reach out, to you to learn more.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, actually it's quite easy lah. As a company, we are quite actively working with association council. So when we are talking about working with association and council, almost bi-weekly they do got some financial literacy program. For example, like the one which is very popular, organized by Malaysian Financial Planning Council, My Money and Me. Easily they are organizing 6 to 8 events across every state in Malaysia to raise financial awareness, education and literacy. Topics included can be like taxation, can be like scam, can be like insurance, saving, investment and unit trust planning. We are there. Okay, so if you don't want to be there physically, you can always follow our Facebook, our LinkedIn, which is very active, and you will get to the latest trend and development happening in the industry. Are welcome to ask questions. We have people in the team to assist you accordingly.
So if people cannot recall what you just said, can they just go to Google and just search for your Alan Lim? will they see your face?
Yeah, of course.
Should be, right?
Yeah, of course there are many Alan Lim in the Facebook, in the Google, but you need to type Alan Lim, P10. Then you will get to the right one.
Okay. All right.
P10 is an InsurTech and Finteq solution provider. We design and develop financial planning and wealth management solution for the banking, financial services and insurance industry. We want to make practitioners easy on their work and also for consumer to understand their financial solution effectively.
Great. All right. So Alan, let's continue with our conversation. And I'm going to start off with saying that, for me to prepare this particular podcast, compared to the last podcast that I did with my team like almost a year plus ago, it was totally different because this time around, I get to use the power of AI. So for this particular podcast, I prepared by asking Grok, Grok version 3, which you can find in Twitter or X, if you're subscribed to it. So I used it to basically frame the questions.
Okay.
What are the relevant questions to ask you as an industry expert that has almost had 3 decades of experience in the industry? So I'm going to read a few of the AI-generated kind of like key areas that it has managed to come out, and I find it's very relevant. So for example, I asked Grok that what are the pain points that normally people who are looking for insurance or who are insured face in the industry. Okay, I'm just going to read out a few things, and then later on I'm going to frame my question accordingly to you and see how we can give the insights to our audience. Okay, for example, it says that the key questions to ask is like, what are the most common risks individuals overlook when planning their insurance coverage, and how can they better identify their unique risk profile? Okay, how can individuals assess which risks are worth insuring versus those they can afford to self-insure? Okay, and then it also mentioned that what role does lifestyle, example, health, occupation, hobbies, or location that they are at, play in determining the right insurance products for the individual, right? And then also there is also mentioned that what are the biggest mistakes people make when choosing insurance policies, and how can they avoid these pitfalls? So you see how how now with AI, it's also helping people to also get more ideas about what they should be thinking about when it
Yeah.
comes to insurance. Not like in my time, right? When I thought about insurance, I didn't have all these tools or artificial intelligence to help me. But right now, it's like, shit, man, I generated this in like a couple of seconds and
Yeah.
I already have better understanding. But at the same time, also, it also kind of like allow us to be able to help our audiences, guide them accordingly, how they can use technology in a way to find out. So now my question is related to the platform that you have developed using, in a way, machine learning in part of your algorithmic modeling to come up with this so-called dashboard, right? To address the questions that I just asked.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want the audience to understand that how you did it and what does your platform do that previously insurance agent could not do, in terms of bridging the gap between ensuring that they are adequately insured for their demographic, for their age group, for their lifestyle, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so can you just give us a little bit more insight into that?
Can I use my chat GPT to answer? Just a joke. Okay, to be very honest, I think AI is very helpful, like you frame the questions, but at the end, AI, it does not feel like a human.
Yes,
So as
absolutely.
a practitioners, the moment you're talking to the consumer, we need feelings, and sometimes we need to talk like you and me. The most important part, we may went into negotiation, some arguments, they make the trust even stronger and bond together. This is the thing that the AI cannot do. Okay, the platform that we have today is we always put our consumer as the number one priority because it's to make them really understand and appreciate what insurance benefit or maybe investment plan they are going into so that they can enjoy the fruits at the end of the day. Okay, but in order for them to understand, we have an intermediary who are the insurance and takaful advisor, unit trust planner who are on the road day in and day out, go out and provide such advisory. So today we are having a platform assisting the insurance takaful advisor and also the unit trust planner to utilize the information, the financial intelligence shown by the system. The moment they go and engage the customer, they're able to answer everything almost instantly. For example, I can give one example. Say today you are a customer of mine. I am your life insurance agent. Hey, Alan, I just got a housing loan 1 million with XYZ bank. I would like to pay the housing loan in 35 years. And the rate being offered, the effective lending rate is 4.2%, for example. But the banker asked me to buy a 30 years MRTA. I feel that 30 years MRTA is it's too long for me. Can I have a 10 years to 15 years MRTA quotation? So very instantly when you go into the portal, right, you're able to find the answer and tell you straight away. Now rather than you say, Mike, I'm so sorry, I don't have the answer for you. Now I come back in another 2 days, 3 days, or even 4 days. But the 4 days is how many hours? 96 hours after your discussion. I believe the heat also is not there anymore, right? So the platform is basically preparing you. If you need any intelligence, you're able to churn the information to get the data almost instantly. Mike, if you get for the 10 years coverage, you're covered lesser, but the premium will be lesser as well. This will be the 10 years coverage, 15 years compared with the 35 years. With such situation of discussion, I believe you will get what you want and helping you to get closer to the solution that you wish to have in your life.
I think that's pretty good because in my perspective, I always thought that, when I purchased my house and I went and get a loan, the MRTA is just given to me by the bank. They don't tell me on my options. They don't tell me that I can get it for 10 years, 15 years. They just, lump it up into the loan and then they just, there you go,
Yeah.
take it or leave it kind of thing, right? There's no even an inkling of a suggestion saying that, hey, Michael, you can actually buy the MRTA for 15 years. So is that mandatory? Like, let's say if your loan tenure is 30 years, you have to get MRTA for 30 years or 35 years? I don't know. I mean,
I think this is a very good question, Mike. At the end, it is all depending on what risk level we are willing to accept. Example, like today, if you are getting a 35 years housing loan and the production only is running for 15 years, there's a lot of gap into the planning. So what we're trying to say is the platform that we have today is able to help the customer to simulate instantly in second. So you as a consumer can visualize, wow, I have a 15 years insurance with 35 years of liability. This will be the gap. If this is something you understand in the first place. If this is something that you don't understand in the first place, basically you are getting a wrong advice. Am I right, Mike? So if this is 15 years is not the right solution you want, and the 30 years are more costly, do you have a better solution, maybe called MLTA? Mortgage level term assurance, where the protection will stay from year 1 to year 30. Maybe it is a bit slightly costly, but it provides more financial advantages and benefits for you as a consumer.
Okay, all right.
And all this could be projected, could be simulated in less than seconds.
Yeah. All depending on the consumer's risk appetite,
Yep,
right? But at least they are able to get the information with your platform, okay, via P10, right, solutions.
yeah.
But how about if they were to go elsewhere and the insurance agents does not have this kind of technology available? So this is not something that's already available out there, right?
Correct.
Basically, you are the one who develop it.
Correct.
So that means only your group and your insurance agent will be able to provide this service. In other words, right?
Okay, it's not so true because by working closely with council and association, P10 platform today, they are accessible via Malaysian Financial Planning Council and Malaysian Takaful Association. They also can get access to the portal there. So if the insurance or Takaful advisor, they want to learn more about P10, they can always go there and journey and know more.
Okay. All right. So that means basically you're working with all the so-called relevant regulatory authority as well as the association that represents the industry's stakeholders, right? In order to try and provide better service, or basically you have created something that can disrupt the industry. Can I say that? Or is that too sensitive to mention?
I wish to can disrupt the industry.
Yeah, but for the good, right?
Yeah,
For the good of
the good of the community and the consumers.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
right. And also the right use of technology and the right timing, so that I think the main purpose is that you want to create more value by giving more value to your
True,
consumer,
true.
and also to advocate for change through meaningful technology usage that
Correct.
can benefit the end user. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So basically, what I mentioned is actually essential in the industry of software, in terms of we are using technology to create a product that is very relevant to serve a particular need in terms of information gathering, information, what do you call that? How to help people to be able to use information and communicate it in a way that people understand in real time.
Correct.
Because time is money. Okay, I think that's the best way of using technology, and if we disrupt it according to the right principles, I think we're going to be doing very well, right? So to mention a little bit about the journey moving forward, okay? What do you see for this year, 2025, being like, I want to touch on a couple of probably very sensitive things, but I have to address it because I think it's relevant, in the sense that the political environment in the region being affected by geopolitics that's happening around the world, and of course the trade war, and ASEAN and Malaysia being a part of ASEAN. How do you see that in terms of risk exposure to the people that wants to manage this kind of risk, that you may lose a job, risk of AI taking over their job, which is basically frontline kind of job, right? More service-oriented kind of job, and also maybe manufacturing job, right? Where there's more robotics being used in manufacturing right now. Also, chatbot and LLM models are able to take over jobs like customer service, diagnostics on behalf of specialists, right, are being implemented, robot surgeons and stuff like that. How do you think that's going to kind of trickle down and affect the insurance industry and the landscape overall? In a broader picture, I know that's a loaded question, but from a risk perspective, how does it make you more relevant as an insurance service provider?
Okay, I think this is a very loaded question, but maybe we can put things into a simple perspective. In general, risk they present in two formats: health-related risk and non-health related risk. So all the risks that just now, Brother Mikey, you mentioned about political, economy kind of thing, they are more related to non-health risk. Okay, when we're talking about non-health risk, something that is very macro.
Let me rephrase that question in a way that the impact that it has because you broadly categorize it into two segments.
Correct.
Health and non-health.
Correct.
But sometimes we know that our health can be affected by our non-health risk
Yes,
exposure.
this is what I'm trying to say.
Right?
I'm trying to say.
So right now we know that since COVID happened, I think a lot of mental illnesses came about.
Correct.
Now a lot of information is surfacing, which is going to be very sensitive because it's mentioned that actually the COVID vaccine also causes a lot of side effects.
Side effects.
Medical journal has published, that a lot of the critically ill illnesses have shot up by huge percentage. I'm not going to mention the percentage because that is something that I think our audience can go and search. COVID-related articles and the medical journals and the scientific research papers that's being published. How many percent certain critical illnesses shot up? Okay, from cancer to high blood to diabetes and etc. 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 Right? So, like I said, it can be non-health related but affects the health related and how they are kind of symbiotic in certain illnesses.
Correct. Can.
Yeah.
Okay, I repeat again. So thank you, Mikey. Actually, we can generalize the condition into two formats: health related and non-health related. Health related is critical illnesses, accidental disability may happen, or death or worst case may happen as well. So the non-health related can be political, geopolitical tensions kind of thing. But actually they are interconnected. Why? Because if you are not healthy in the first place, how are you going to be economically sensible, economically viable for your family? Am I right? But if talking about non-health related, if the economy is so bad, right, and you can't earn enough to invest even in a single basic policy, they are also correlated.
Symbiotic in a way.
Symbiotic. So I believe health is always the number one priority. Without a good health, you cannot go out and make money and earn for the family. But the moment you are earning enough, whether based on affordability level, it is always advisable for you to invest some form of insurance so that when the health come into problem, you're able to use the strength of the insurance to pay for the cost may incur in your life. In one way. In another way, if you invest in a life insurance with some form of saving, when during the economy time, which is not so good during the COVID time, maybe a lot of people only get half of their salary, but the commitment still continue to run. Am I right, Mike?
Yeah.
They can always go back to the policy they bought with saving element, cash out partially, they get through the difficulties. If you were to ask me, I think they are correlated in one way or another, but I believe health is always the number one priority in our discussion.
Yeah, that's interesting because while you're answering that question, it's like something popped up in my head. Because initially when we started out this episode, remember I asked you a question about whether should young people get insurance or not. Now after this particular insight and our back and forth, I realized that the answer is yes, young people should get insurance because the non-health, which is primarily affecting a lot of young people because they are not so well versed or have the experience or didn't have the experience to go through bad times, right? So they are not so well prepared to handle mental stress. mental illness. All right, so they are more prone to all these so-called health issues that are maybe not classified in the insurance category of health issues, right? So yeah, in a way that yeah. So our audience, if you haven't had insurance, I think it's time you think about it, because I think we just revealed something interesting here.
Like we always like to say, life is always unpredictable. You will never know what kind of crisis will hit you along the way. The day we go out to work, from the journey we come back to home. So that's why preparation is always very important in our life.
Yeah.
Since you are young in your life cycle, maybe as a single, you go as a young parent, you need to take care in a burger kind of era, you need to take care for the elderly, you got a wife and the children. Without having a proper shield, actually you're exposing yourself to a lot of risk.
Yes, yes,
The meaning of
absolutely.
having life insurance and financial planning is to transfer the risk when you need the most. Why? Because if we cannot afford to pay for the cost, we need to use an instrument to help you to settle your problem.
Yeah, like back in the old days, I'm talking about old days when I was like in my early 20s lah. I think back then when an insurance agent tried to sell your insurance to anybody, I think at that time, correct me if I'm mistaken about this, there was still a stigma in the market where when you kind of sell insurance, it's like, oh, you want me to prepare for death lah. I mean, back then it's applicable, but I don't think in Malaysia it's so applicable anymore, because people see insurance policies as a risk management need
Correct.
that they want to prepare for, and to ensure that they are able to protect their wealth and at the same time protect their family members.
Correct.
I mention this because in certain parts of our neighboring countries, life insurance is still a taboo when you mention it. Because for certain cultures, it's like, oh, why are you trying to sell me insurance? You want me to die? That's the first thing that comes into your mind. But I think this is slowly changing with education. So insurance now should be looked upon as something of a risk mitigation policy. It can be also a wealth builder if you know what type of insurance to get. And you can also actually protect your wealth at the same time. So the perception of insurance is already changing. For someone like me, it has changed significantly from the time of 30 years ago to now, because I think now the products is far more diverse.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
back in the old days, I remember it's very few products. Okay, kind of like in the banking sector right now, banking and finance, there's so many products right now. Back in the old days, it's very simplified product.
Simplified.
It's either just a personal loan or a housing loan. There is no other types of products. Now they are like so creative. You have a lot of wealth products. You got a lot of various kind of loan products. Even personal loans also can be broken down into various kind of model. Like 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, 9 year, right? But in certain countries, for example, auto loan can only be 5 years, but in Malaysia it's up to 9 years. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So it's like it's always changing, and I think important to note is that consumer behavior has changed. Pretty much like digital banking right now is kind of like the bread and butter for the young generation right now. Not like during my time where I still have to go into over-the-counter service, which right now I'm very happy that I don't have to. Yeah. So I think insurance is moving towards that. I also feel that a lot of insurance can be purchased online right now from
Yes.
trusted
Yes.
companies, organizations.
Yes.
Right? And I think they're moving towards that direction, right? So sticking to that theme in terms of technological advancement, in terms of providing better access to insurance to the end user, to the customer, how are insurance companies right now in general adapting and evolving in terms of raising the bar, in terms of providing more digital channels for people that maybe are underserved for that matter?
Okay, I think you asked a very good questions, Mikey. Why? Because for the Bank Negara Malaysia direction, the protection gap in Malaysia now, they are focusing on the underserved community. They call the vulnerable groups.
Yeah.
While those people, they are earning just enough for the family day in and day out, That's why having the awareness to get the right insurance is how important for them. Because if the breadwinner were to face a disability or the diagnosis of the critical illnesses, he can't work for the next 24 months. Who is going to take care for the family? So that's why the know-how and the knowledge and also the awareness must be transferred to them in a way they can understand. So for insurance company, they basically like banking, they got basic consumer, sophisticated consumer. For insurance industry sector will be exactly the same. They got some basic product to serve for the underserved and some complicated and comprehensive product to serve for the complicated customer. So this is how the insurance company are evolving along the way, hoping to serve the community as a whole.
Okay, that's a very good way of looking at it. Yeah. All right. So, what do you hope to achieve in this industry, flying the banner of P10 within your industry for the rest of 2025? And what do you see in Malaysia in terms of technological advancement and adoption that we can expect from maybe 2026 onwards until 2030? Can you just give us a little bit of your insight whether what trends do you see that's most likely to perpetuate out of the industry?
Okay. I believe the little challenge that we are facing now is not about the technology, it's about the adoption by the general practitioners, the
Yep.
users.
Yep.
Because the general users today, they born in older era. Now they have the generation 1, generation 2 who learn from them without digital elements. So the moment if you want to change the way they work, to change the way they advise to the customer, it still takes a lot of effort in terms of financial education and awareness. Then they can leverage on tool like ABC tool or maybe by using P10 as a robo advisory, assisting them to do a good presentation, to engage the customer correctly and to present with facts and figures to make the consumer understand at the end of the day. So I believe the journey from 2026 to 2030 will be quite exciting because I believe the country PMX also mentioned a lot about data center, about data science, big data analytics. We are definitely going to digitalization. I believe AI won't replace the role of the insurance agent because at the end it is a
Definitely.
feeling, it's a feeling transaction, you know. I talk to you, I like
Yes.
you. So it's a kind of thing, but with the AI, with the tool we have in our hand, basically can help you to enhance the mindset which carry you,
Yes.
the skill set which is going to help you,
Yes.
and the tool that's going to deliver for you
Yes.
to make you work even more efficiently and effectively your role as a life insurance agent. If today you can get
Yeah.
a tool to increase your activity and productivity, why not?
Yep. Yeah, I tend to agree with you, but I think one thing that practitioners don't understand is that we are moving towards a world where consumers are hungry for personalized service.
Correct.
And that relates to what you mentioned, the point that you say that AI cannot take over, okay? Because AI is not human, so they cannot give personalized service. They can answer very specific questions that you ask, provided how good your prompt is, if you're using ChatGPT or Grok or any other LLM models that is being available right now, including DeepSeek, etc., right? But they cannot answer you in a way that another human being can. Okay, so for example, in the financial industry, what I find that there's a gap is in terms of the education part. And one of the reasons why I feel very motivated to get you to be our first so-called guest in this podcast for Fintech Frontier is because I know that you're someone who founded P10 on a very on the right principle, that you wanted to provide something good by educating your marketplace of what you're doing, and to do it in a way that is providing more value for the people for their benefit. So that is what I feel that we have something in common, because that's the whole objective and the mission and the vision of Global Fintech under our academy what do you call that, under our academy banner, okay? Because we want to provide information, insights that will benefit all communities.
Correct.
Because I feel that there's a gap between what is being mentioned in the news out there. It's too confusing. It's like selling snake oil sometimes, confusing people, whereas people get confused, right? So there's more financial education is required for people to be able to get the right financial literacy based on proven financial models and business practices.
Correct.
Okay, so based on facts, in other words, so everything has to be data related. All right, so that's why I was fascinated by when you build this platform, as I am fascinated about consulting my customers in the banking side. So together, I'm hoping that we can achieve something for our audience where we can put together banking and finance and insurance, how they are correlated and symbiotic in a way that helps us understand financial literacy better and be better educated in terms of financial definitions and jargons. That will help us translate those information into something actionable that we can take in terms of, for example, what kind of insurance policy to buy, what I should cover for, what kind of banking products I should acquire, what's the best product, and be able to do the research, and how should I invest my money when I do have savings and extra income. Whether it's going to be a wealth product or an insurance-related wealth product, at least they know. At least they know the options that is on the table, and they can decide by themselves with the information, hopefully, that we're able to give them the insight to do so.
Correct.
And that is the ultimate objective of this podcast.